So red spring, you may remember we started just like the regular routine. Okay? Okay, so this is the red spring class. It's just like the regular routine, where we have 3 red springs. Usually all the machines only have 3 red springs, so here are 3 red springs. So footwork is just the same as regular routine, so heels together while the feet are on. I'm going to press out. The dynamic of red spring is to do the same work, but you have a little heavier resistance. So red springs are tighter, kind of and faster. So they feel a lot like when you would do just 2 reds, a blue, and a yellow, but when we do the 3 red springs, you're working on timing and control. So you're pushing out all the way long, and then the carriage or the heaviness of the springs could pull you in. But what we want to do is encourage those inner thighs to work as well as the quads. So the machine feels, or the system feels a little bit heavier, kind of on purpose, but the force is not so much on so much work to go out. It's the fact that you have to control and not clank and let the machine make that kind of automatic return. You want to be in control. So the red spring class should actually be called controlology because it's all about control. So we'll go into arches and parallel. Same sensation, you're pressing out long. You might decide if it is just a little bit heavier, kind of pulling you in, you can hold on to a ball, kind of a yoga block or a pillow to encourage your ankles, your knees, and your hips and your shoulders to stay nice and long, and you have a nice full breath. So sometimes when you do red spring, you'll find that, okay, it's heavy there, it makes you work a little bit harder, but you really want to just keep the length. You might feel a little bit more pressure down your shoulders. That should encourage you to kind of pull more length across the machine. So footwork, staying in arches for the second one, and then we're going to go up to pat of the heel. Sometimes we go a little bit less count, so we usually do about maybe 10, 8 to 10 in red spring. Similar to regular routine, except for the fact that we usually try to do more things in this kind of 1 hour window of class, so we don't do as many. We don't do the typical 12 to 15 kind of leg presses. We kind of shorten it to 8 to 10. And y'all know I don't really count, but just your goal is to just keep a nice long and strong pace, okay? So we don't count, mostly because in the class dynamics, everybody's kind of rhythm is a little bit different, so we try not to throw people off in their own personal rhythm. So you're still working on breath, you're still working on kind of symmetry, so your feet and ankles don't roll in, your knees don't roll in. You're still working on keeping the length from the back of your head to your tailbone, okay? So let's do that 4th foot position, which is toes on, heels up. This one again can be a little bit more challenging. So as you're pressing down, the concept of course in traditional reformer is to hold your rib cage down, hold your belly button down, and hold your pelvic floor, pull the drawstring. But when you do toes on, and the heels come up a little bit higher, remember kind of pull them up a little bit, you tend to pull those heels up and those ankles want to roll out, or the knees want to roll out, or the pelvis, and go ahead and actually tuck for me so I can just kind of point to it. So when you come in, kind of roll your pelvis up. That's what the body wants to do, and you don't want to let it, to kind of pull those heels up. So you have to kind of, send those sits bones towards your heels, pull your sits bones towards the foot bar, towards your heels, knees up, and just kind of sit in that 90-degree chair position with the toes on, heels up, versus letting yourself curl under, okay? Some people find it challenging. He doesn't seem to have too much hyperextension, but if you do have more hyperextension than that, then you don't want to press all the way out and let those knees drop. You want to stay nice and long. Okay, so press out, stay out all the way long. Tendon stretch, just the same. Press the heels under, and lift. But if you hyperextend those knees, you have to go up, and then down. Up, and then down, and up, and then down. So all footwork is done on those 3 springs. Tendon stretch is done on the 3 spring system. And we bend the knees, come in, and we take off 1 red. So now we're on 2 red springs. So reach back and grab those straps. So when we do red spring, again, it's about control. So you can do it in tabletop position. So you can bring your legs up into tabletop, arms pull down like you traditionally do. So pull down, don't go yet. So you can stay in this position. But ideally in red spring, we're here. Flex those heels, hold those abs in, and your goal is to hold those legs up with those abs. So pulse from there. So ideally in our red spring class, we're pulsing and breathing, and pulsing and breathing, right? We're reaching and pulsing, and so we're trying to find length. You have these heavy springs on the machine, so pull that length from the heels to your sits bones, from your sits bones through the back of your head, so you have this nice long kind of lengthening, pulling, lengthening, reaching, lengthening, breathing, still have the zippering going on, still pulling that rib cage tight, pulling that drawstring, torso stays long, good, and come all the way in, okay? Again, 100 order that stays the same. You want the blood to boil, you want the breath to move through the body. Do coordination on 2 red springs. Ideally, when we do coordination on 2 red springs, we do our jumping jack sensation with arms and legs. So you might not always see that in traditional reformer. So we do coordination, arms reach up, legs go up, arms pull down to the sides, straight legs, open, close, arms and legs. So try that over again, good, and then come back in, and then bend the knees and come on in, start over. So again, we pull down, right? Open, close, arms and legs, and start over, come back in, right? So it's kind of a folding table, right? So you unfold the table, you reach and lengthen down the front of the body, jumping jack, arms and legs, breathing, zipper and pull through. And again, we press through, open, close, good. Torso stays long, pull back through. We'll do 2 more, just to kind of remind the body how to facilitate, just like hundreds. Find that length, zipper down the middle, use those inner thighs, use those armpit, we haven't done a lot of arm work yet. Use that armpit adduction, open, close, arms and legs, good. Come back and pull in, okay? So we switch back down, or not back down, we'll switch down to 1 single red. So different than traditional reformer, where we're often on a red and a yellow, or man reformer sometimes on a blue yellow. It's a light spring, so you're in tabletop position if your back kicks in, but again, ideally legs are straight up, so straight up to the ceiling. So arms reach and pull. So legs are up, arms are up. I'm going to start with the shorter ones. And so we're going to pull down to the sides and right back up. Keep those legs extended if we can. Pull them a little bit closer. Yeah, so hold them there, lengthen and pull through. So that lighter spring is like a weight that's been put kind of on your lower limbs. And so you're trying not to let those, it doesn't have to be straight, they just need to be straight up, okay? So you don't want it to bob back and forth. So you're lengthening down and pulling through, pull that rib cage close, lengthen and pull up, and we lengthen and pull through. Same sensation, we're going to go into arm circles. So we circle around, and stay in the ab control, right? Abs are holding my legs up. Abs are encouraging my trunk to kind of stay neutral so I'm not bobbing or rocking left and right or up and down. And then, yep, circles, we got circles both directions. Use those pecs, use those shoulder blades as you circle and breathe, and circle and breathe, and circle. Same dynamic, we go into tricep press, back of the arms, into the carriage. Hold that length, good. Yeah, you can cross the ankles, especially if that back kicks in. So, but keeping those legs relatively moving as a unit. They're attached to the trunk, the abs are holding in place, you press down and back up. Breathe and press down and back up. And then you take that into jump ropes, we often call them, or tricep circles. We circle around. Shoulders pull away from the shoulder rest. We circle around. Good. Single red spring, it's going to want to pull you in fast. You want to keep that control, right? So you want to be nice and even versus circling, and circling, and circling, right? Nice and even. Okay, and the last one with the arms, we go out to the T, airplane arms. We pull to the hips. We come out to the side. The control is really on the way out. This feels like the work to come in. We hold our abs down. We come out to the T, nice and balanced and controlled. Don't let the shoulders rise to the shoulder rests. Keep them at a nice kind of lateral position. We pull to the hips, out to the T, breathing. Last one, and feet in straps. So again, very similar series to Reformer basic routine that we do in Reformer 1 and Reformer 2, but we do some added things just to challenge that single spring kind of speed that red spring offers. So legs straight up and down, just the same, long leg pulls, we go down in front. And again, you can stay in parallel, You want to keep the tailbone down, or you can go into outward rotation. So you're definitely going to get more, and I always kind of remind folks, you definitely get more out of that leg work when your feet are in outward rotation. And when they're in outward rotation, your hips tend to push into that lower back, so that's not super comfortable for folks, so sometimes staying in that parallel is just where you want to be, right? So you decide. Sometimes you might want to do the work, sometimes you want to challenge that area back there, other times you want to just stay nice and congruent and linear across your hips. Take that into leg circles, just the same concept. You can do circles in parallel to stay out of any kind of tweak that might be occurring in your hips or back, or you can do an outward rotation, recruit some of those inner thighs just a little bit more. Okay, breathing and circling, nice fluid breath as we circle, and circle, and circle, good, and circle. We take it into frog, just the same, knees to chest, press it out, we pull back in. So similar to regular routine, again, the difference is we have this spring system that feels kind of light. So especially folks that have long legs, you got a little bit more weight to balance. Take that into swimming frog. So swimming frog is going to be out to the side, squeeze and straight into the middle, bend the knees to your chest, and again, we go out, we come in, we pull close. All right, so those inner thighs are reaching, and then squeezing, and then you draw it in. And one last time, reaching out, pull it in, and then we reverse it, We go out, both legs, we come wide, we pull wide and pull in. Stretch it long, pull it open, wide and pull in. Light spring is gonna make you really work on your timing, because there'll be a kind of point there where your knees will kind of feel like, oh, I'm carrying the weight of my hip. Try to just keep those inner thighs doing the work. And then we finish off with Peter Pan, just the same. Okay, one leg is bent. Good. Side, center, and side, center. All that leg work, it's real tricky because that back wants to jump up off the mat. Especially in Peter Pan, those hips want to rock side to side, and you want to stay reaching with that thigh, reaching with that thigh. All right? Reaching with that inner thigh, and reaching, reaching, and reaching, and reaching. Okay, straps come off. We do stomach massage. Do you need a sticky pad at all? Okay. So stomach massage, you do it all 3 red springs. So similar to traditional stomach massage that we do. You can use that sticky pad up underneath because there's a decent amount of force from a heavy spring. It's going to pull you in faster. You have to push away stronger. Okay? Hands in front. We'll do it about 5 times each way. You're going to pull those abs close. We press back. Hold on down in front. Heels together. Balls of the feet are on. And go ahead and go. Hands in front of the machine. There we go. Right there. So we press and pull through. Good. Wrap that rib cage. Use those inner thighs. Kiss those heels together. And use those inner thighs. Okay? Take off one red spring. Hands go back behind. So we go from 3 reds to 2 reds to 1. Okay? Charles likes to be really close to the edge. That's actually the ideal position. That's a really tough position to do stomach massage from. But you want to be close to the edge. And if you get to the edge, that's great, but it definitely puts a decent amount of pressure in those knees, so listen to the body. Puts a decent amount of pressure in those hips, and even for some people, a lot of pressure at those ankles. So if you can get to the edge and facilitate the movement, that's awesome. Otherwise, find yourself kind of mid to lower of the machine. So pressing and pull through. And so when you're reaching your arms back, you see that that kind of eye gazes into the distance. It's not down too far, it's definitely not up. You want to hold that rib cage in and up. And then we switch down to that single red, hands in front, push and stay long. And so you want to reach as if you're going to, I was saying, you're going to put something up on a shelf, up into the distance, reaching up into the distance. At this point, we're on a light spring. You want to power the movement more from kind of the pressure of your feet when you go out and press when you come in. And you press when you go out and you press when you pull in. It's not the spring that's in control, it's you that's in control. And reaching and breathing, good. And reaching and breathing. We're going to take this into rotation. Just 2 on each side, but ideally we do 4. So we go out, don't go that far yet, not that far, just rotation, good, come back in. That's the It's a tough one. Just rotate. We go out and rotate. Open. There you go. Pull back in. Okay? Let's get ready to do the rotation and reach, which is kind of difficult to kind of do on your own. We got to give a little bit more coaching on how the back shouldn't be involved. This one is just that traditional rib cage rotation. Good. Rib cage rotation, inner thighs, kind of, stomach massage, all the same. So we won't do the reach this time, okay? But it is a tough one to do. Okay. So we come around to the other side for kneeling. So as much as this feels like arm work, the goal is to stay into ab work. It's more of a balance of arm and ab work, and that's what you need to kneel on your knees, more padding, okay? So you're going to stay long and strong. So you're pulling those arms straight back, stop there, pull your abs in. You're going to look to the left, center, right, center, and release those arms to the front. So again, you pull straight back, pull those abs in. We look, and bring it on front, right? Arms come back to the front. So again, arms just do that one little sensation. We don't want the back to arch and hold us up. We don't want the shoulders to pinch together and hold us up. And so the whole head turning motion is a test. Can you have range of motion through your shoulder girdle, through your pectoral area, and feel the rotation internally? But if you're pinched together, you're not going to have a lot of range of motion. But if you're kind of stationed with those abs and those inner thighs squeezing and your pecs kind of fanning open and pressing back, your press and your look, center, you find that you have a lot more range of motion, right? And so you're kind of trying to get that chin to shoulder top motion without feeling a tweak or a pinch in the shoulder blades, okay? So the second one, I'm going to actually have you shorten the straps. So just give them a tug, and let's go hands in the short straps. So I want to kind of point out how we don't want to get too involved in the wrists. Okay, some people will just hold the straps like we always do, choking up on the straps. But part of the reason we want to have our hands in the strap, right? Have our hands nice and long, is so that we don't use our wrists for some of these other motions. So you're going to come up here, right? So your palms are up. So you're not wrist up. Your palms up, so flex the elbows, stay there, right? I hope this is okay on your knees. You're going to stay up there and lean your body weight back, and then come right back forward. Good. Give me more ab than knees. Back. There we go. Good. And pull back up. And so by having those arms up there, you're not pulling and bending your wrists and pulling the straps. You're anchoring them and then hovering. Good. And so you feel like you have a board at your forehead, at your chest, at your belly button, at your pelvis and drawstring, and at your quads, right? You go back and you go up. There's no hinging at that middle back. There's no hinging at that lower back. And you're definitely not tossing that head back, right? We're coming back. Good. And forward. Good. Okay? Then we just take the rotation. We go from arms forward to hands out. Same thing. Kind of lift the arms up a little higher. So shave right there. Same motion. The whole body goes back. Body back, body forward. So when we're close, we can hold those pecs to help us hold up. We've just fanned everything open. It's really easy to want to pull back, which is not good, which is awesome. You don't want to pull back. You want to stay from narrow to wide, going back. Good, and pull forward, right? This red spring, you feel the length of your trunk being supported. Your quads are definitely doing the work, but be cautious with those knees. Back and pull up. And last one, back and pull up, okay? So, hands down to the sides, you're going to pull straight back and flatten that back. Stick your bottom out, let your back out, but lengthen more through there. So we're going to make that soft correction, pull up right there, yep, and then reach your arms forward. You're going to stay in this long, flat position. Reach your arms back behind you, behind you, behind you, behind you, good, and then pull back. Your abs hold you in, hold in, hold in, hold in. You're laying on a table, good, and pull back through. Right? You pull back, and reach forward. Good. Hold those abs in. Less back, more belly. Back. Keep that head long. Good. And pull back. Okay? So, the second dynamic is to go pulling back and long, and then you're going to lift up and come back to your front. Good. And the key is we don't want to hinge. Good, good, good. We want to lengthen and lift with the chest. Good, so you feel like you're lifting, so lengthen and lift. last one here, we'll cross the straps. And cross the hands, of course. Still kind of keep those palms down. Lay your chest kind of into the distance like you're going to kind of get on a bike, right? And you go out and pull back. Don't arch the back. Good. Wrap that front. Reach those pecs. Reach those armpits. Good. Hold those abs in to hold you up. A little tricky on the knees, but find a comfortable knee position. And we come open. Good. And open. Nice. And open. Okay? Uncross the straps, come around the other way. Again, this is more ab work than arm work. That was probably the most dynamic of arm work that we did was that last crisscross one. This time you'll probably put your feet inside the headrest, not up against the headrest, but inside. There you go. Good. And so you're going to put the straps at your hands, just like this, just like you're actually getting ready to do hundreds. And there's a lot of pec work with ab work. So fan your hands to the front, stop there, and then come back there. Right there. Stop there and come back. So you're trying not to let your body bob back and forth. Hold your abs in, hold them in. Yep. Reach them forward, your arms, and hold your abs in. Don't let them sway forward. There you go. Reach and pull back. Good. Reach and pull back. Recruit those pecs and shoulder blades mostly, right? This isn't scoops. It's a little bit different. This is ab work. We're trying not to let our abs throw us into the movement. Hold it strong. The last ones. Good. Okay? You're going to put the straps at your elbows. Okay? So now you're going to kind of cross over, one over the other, and back. Don't let that chest pop open. You want to stay neutral. Cross and open. This doesn't change. Trunk doesn't change. Pecs and shoulder blades. Wrapping, and you're holding yourself up with your abs, cross to the front. You can alternate high-low, totally up to you. Good. And come open. Good. Come open. We cross. Good. We cross. Okay? And we'll take the hands back in the straps. We're using that armpit pec dynamic. We're going to reach up nice and tall, like we often say, take the hat off, and you're going to stay there. You're going to stay there. Straighten those arms. Reach up. And you're going to stay long, okay? Lean your body weight forward with your abs, not your back. Lean. Hold on to me. Good. Pull forward. Lean. Good. Hold yourself there. Stay there. You're basically doing a plank. You're holding that length. You're holding that length from your chin to your chest, from your chest to your knees, all the way long. Breathe and hold. Breathe and hold. Okay? And you can release it for a quick second. But you got to go back and find it again. Now we're going to do kind of a crunch, right? So the butt doesn't go anywhere. The butt stays here. You're going to go in front. Don't move that butt. Get deeper up there. There you go. Round it and extend back without using the back muscles. So we scoop over and scoop back up. Scoop over and lengthen back up. Breathing and pull up. You got it. Leave that butt there. There you go. Back up. There we go. And back up. And one more. Over and up. So yeah, it's hard not to let that bottom kind of pelvic tilt go over. You want to stay here, round over in the front, come back up. Okay, roll down comes next. You're preparing, ultimately, that trunk to really fine-tune that midsection so it doesn't hinge at the waist and the bra line, but you stay through that midsection. Okay? So with roll down, we're staying on a single bed. We still have one red spring. And just like we often do in our other classes, mat class, Pilates Reformer class, our traditional Pilates 1s and 2s, and roll down, especially on short boxes, you want to be counting it out to a full 8 count. Okay, use that breath, reach that rib cage, so the arms are to the front, and so lengthen and breathe. So we would count out, it's your count, it's totally up to you as you roll yourself out, 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 breathing, reaching. So again, you just don't want it to be 4 down and 2 up, or 6 down and 4 up. You want it to be about the same. If it's not 8, it's totally okay. You just want it to be the same. The same count, 6 to go down and 6 to come up. You're on a red spring. Usually we do it on a blue-yellow, which is lighter. So the weight feels about the same, but we're going to track back a little bit. It's about the speed. So the speed is that you can kind of, control the stretch of that spring on a heavy spring, and then kind of quickly the spring will say, and you come up. On red spring, you really have to say, I'm in control, kind of walking down the stairs. And then coming up, I'm still in control, kind of climbing up the stairs or climbing up the rope. And not give in to the, oh, I have this stretchy rock back feeling, stretching rock back feeling. You want it to feel in ab control. Not choppy, but control. That's the only difference really when you do it blue, yellow to a single red. Some people, when they have them get started, especially, I always say this, if you know there's any part of your spine, your upper back, your middle back, or your lower back that is uncomfortable, roll down is not something you often need to do repetitively over and over again. You kind of stay away from it. But if you still want to give it a try, give it a go around, you can add yellow spring, especially in the red spring class, and add the yellow spring. But that's why I'm kind of hesitant to tell people when they're doing home routines to do it on red, because they gotta listen and feel, because there's not always eyes there to watch. Okay? It might not hurt now, but it might bother you the next time around. Good. Pull through. Okay. So that's roll down. We're going to take it into roll down and then teaser prep. So roll down, and then we go out to the T. So roll down, we go out to the T, hands go out, and then bring them back in, and roll ourselves up just a little bit faster. So the rhythm changes. So I just told you that with roll down, you go down in 6, and you come up in 6. In teaser, we often go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We go out to the T, and then we come up 1, 2, 3, 4. And reach those arms forward. Good. Don't reach that far forward. We want to reach into the angle up to the ceiling. So we go down, 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 and go out, because again, this is preparing to do teaser. And we roll ourselves up to that ceiling, hands up. Good. And then one more, we go down and out. And so the challenge is here. I'm going to put my hand on his chest. This is where the challenge is, right through your chest. Don't let that back pop up. Keep it wide. Now wrap the pecs, pull in, wrap and squeeze, and pull through. Nice. Okay? Teaser prep 1 is just upper bodies in the red spring class. Second dynamic is to add the leg. It doesn't have to be bent, it doesn't have to be straight, just lift one leg. Doesn't matter to me. Same thing, you're just gonna lift the leg and do it. Alright? So lift one leg up, one leg up. Yep, so we go down, lower the leg, and we come up, lift the leg, lift the leg, lift the leg. Good. We go down, we do about 2 or 3 each side, and breathe, and scoop and pull up. Use the pec control that we just worked with. We were just moving those arms back and forth. Recognizing we kind of have this little hidden power behind, I say, you know, the ladies use your boobs, right? Behind the pecs that we don't use, behind the boobs. We want to use that, reach it, wrap it, versus letting it all happen just in the shoulders. And you know, it's a guy's routine, so the guys get the hang of it. We have to work a little harder at how to stay out of our back, wanting to do that kind of flexion, and then scoop and breathe and pull up. Okay? The progression on that is to try to do both legs. I wouldn't highly encourage it unless you totally know what you're doing. If you know, Charles and I have come up and helped you with teaser, definitely go for both legs, but I'm not going to encourage that one. Okay? We come around to the other side and do teaser prep 2. Nobody loves this on the Reformer in Red Spring, but the reason I do it is to remind people, to kind of remind them how much ab control they have maybe developed in this short window of time. You know, the first 20 minutes here. So your heels hit the corners of your machine, the actual edge of the machine. You want them on the machine. And then if you have the other machines, they're going to be on the little black bases there, right? So you're just going to lift those arms up. Lift them up. Good. And again, up, 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 up. So no backs, ups. Stop there. Good. We go up. Again, don't go back. Go up, and again, go up, and again, go up, and again, there we go. Give me ups, abs ups, arms ups, not your back, good, abs up. Then you add a leg, lift it up, breathe, and lift it up. Arms and abs, don't worry so much about your hips. One more each side, good, and pull up, good, okay? So we call that teaser prep again. Nobody loves it because you're like, I'm in this kind of curled up position, but it's a reminder that whole time, legs and arms were doing work, but really you were holding everything in with the scoop of your belly, okay? So, the straps will go away, you'll come around for mermaid, single red. And so, single red mermaid, I remind folks that it's a huge encouragement of really you in the spring. So we go back to, usually we do a blue-yellow on mermaid, but we're using a single red because we're in the red spring dynamic. And that when we do that side stretch, that heavy spring is telling you to pull the line, right? I talk a lot about our diagonals. So from my shoulder to my hip, so I'm mirroring him, he's facing this way. He's gonna reach to this side and really try to pull the line and use that heavy spring to pull that line, right? And then it's really easy for the spring to just sweep you back in. And we wanna really have that control. You just reach out long, use the length, and stretch out to that side. Push, push, push away from that red spring, right? You can do just a simple side stretch, or you can take the rotation. You can't really see the knees, but we'll spin around here in a second. But the goal is to feel that length, and I just kind of use this line here. This side is lengthening from this hip, right? And then you're coming back up and over, and then bring this arm up to the side. This line coming from this side, right? And then that line pulls through, the red spring, push into it, pull the trunk of your body, and then reach and lift, and don't let the spring pull you in. You guide it in and pull up. Just do the other side, okay? And so nothing major different from doing it, except this is all we do. We don't do pull straps. We don't do rotation on red spring. We just try to get a nice, strong, work the diagonal system, because we do a lot more work in the elephant series here coming up as we reach to the side. Good. So pull that diagonal, pull that line. And so that sitting position, he happens to be in the Z-sit. This knee happens to be down. This hip happens to be down. I'm going to have him the next time up come on in and keep this leg out. Not because he needs to, but still go ahead and reach, okay? So now it's this line, kind of pulling at the leg here. This line, we're pulling that red spring and then bringing ourselves back up. So sometimes, even if you can sit in the Z-sit, especially in the red spring class, you're trying to pull the length of your body. You're trying to pull your pec into the distance, your abs back, and your groin and your thigh opposition into the distance. So that's something you can work on specifically in red spring, but you're not going to get out of the blue-yellow, traditional blue-yellow mermaid that we do in regular routine, right? So really take advantage of drawing the line or pulling the line on that red spring, okay? So we're going to stay on that red spring. We're going to come up to kneeling, and we do what I call swan stretch. So it's a mix between doing swan and doing down stretch. So hands on the foot bar, feet against the shoulder rest. So a down stretch, a lot of times, and we'll do it real quick, just if you were down stretch, I know, there's a difference. Just gonna rock your body back, knees go to everything back, stop there, and everything forward. So this is down stretch, right? We rock it back and forth, okay? So then I'm gonna push you into position. Come on in, come on up, bring the carriage in. Lift your chest up, lift your chest up, lift your chest up. So this would be swan, pull that chin up. So this is swan, right? So we call it swan. So the difference of this is you don't get to do this in swan stretch, you just kind of hold this length. You go all the way back, all the way down, and then pull yourself up, long, front. So different than down stretch, you don't go over the top. Swan, you come up. Does that make sense? That we come up at a nice, tall, long, and long, right? So you might feel your hips shaking and your rib cage shaking as you go down. Your legs stay wide, so you keep nice parallel lines down your body from your heel to your hip to your shoulder. Nice long parallel lines out, and pull the length, your length. So everybody's a little longer in the trunk, maybe shorter in the waist. I have a short waist, I have a high length. That's why we really make this long and strong. Good, and pull up. And so it's kind of the same way that down stretch is a precursor of preparing the body for recognizing we have all of this strength under here that's moving you, right? It should get you out of wanting to recruit your back. So now we'll come up to do what we call baby elephant, okay? A lot of people will do this instead of, so you're there, you're fine where you are, instead of standing elephant, one, because it just feels a little bit uncomfortable, but when we do it in this class, it's really about you and the machine, the force of the machine. So you're going to push your upper body up to the ceiling. Come up, keep coming up, and then push your upper body back. So baby elephant, don't move the machine, just your body, backwards, get up, drop that head, so you're just hands and knees per se. Now, we're an elephant, right? Hands legs per se. Stay in this position, send the carriage back just like elephant. Right there, don't use those arms, good, and scoop and pull back, right back in. Don't use those hips, just your belly, back, right there, and pull in. Good, we go back, right there, and pull in. Yes, don't use those arms, and pull up, breathing, there it is, back, and pull up, good, back, and pull up. So that's baby elephant. To get deeper in it, for your body to truly understand it a little bit more, you're gonna bring your knee to your chest. Okay, sometimes people call this that I'm torturing them, kind of, but the goal is that you feel it more. Bring your knee to your chest, just like that. Same thing, don't go anywhere. Push back, not the machine, your body. Go up, round up like a cat even more, there. Now work from there, and pull back in, and pull in, 5 times strong. And pull in, good, and pull in, and pull in, good. Pull in, do the other side. So the key is to stay up and back, just like you did an elephant. So you want to be rounded up. So you're, there you go. So stay up there, drop your head. There you go. Pull up, there you go. And pull up, and pull up, nice. And pull up, so it stays rounded, and stays rounded. Okay, so that's elephant, and baby flamingo is kind of what I call it, but we call it knees on, meaning they're touching the carriage. Now we kind of get on a bicycle, elbows go wide, all right? Look into the distance, send your bottom back, stick it out, stay there. So you kind of, it doesn't feel like you flat back, you kind of go, well, it kind of feels swayed. But again, you're long in your back, there's no hump in the shoulder and no tuck in the pelvis. Don't move those arms, push into my hand with your body weight, right there. Now send the carriage back with your abs, back, pull it in, back, pull it in, good. Feel that t-shirt pull down the front of the body, pull it back, good. Reach it back, so you're really sticking that bottom out. It's not tucking under, you're sending your sits bones to the wall behind you, you're widening your chest, you're holding your rib cage wrapped, but you're keeping the length. That's why we call this kind of flat back, knees on, good, or I call it kind of bicycle, or some people call it, you know, motorcycle riding, whatever, crotch rocket ones, where you kind of really buckle down and get there. Okay, same thing, one leg up, but this time the leg comes back. So you lift that knee, right, backwards, right there, and press 5, 4, good, 3, keep those motorcycle arms, good, don't pump them, good, and switch out to the other leg, lift that thigh from the front, not the back, from the front, all right, and swing it, hold it up there, good, hold it up there, nice, okay, good, okay, so we have baby elephant, baby flamingo, we have motorcycle, I don't know what we call the other one with one leg, we haven't really come up with a name, but it's kind of like arabesque back. Then your hands will come down to the base, okay? And so this is now knees off, okay? Knees off, depending on what you're feeling, exactly. This is hard. When you bring your legs up as low as he did, that's hard. Come up higher, that's easier, okay? Straighten your legs, bend. So let's do easy first. Bend your knees, come in, stay up there. Out, pull it in. And you're ultimately holding yourself up with your abs, not your arms, your abs, right? Good. If you drop your knees, it drops it a little bit harder, right? Drop your knees lower and just hover them right off the machine. Good, good. And then you go fast, 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 fast. Good, come all the way in, okay? So, slow is slow. I mean, there's no pace to say go slow, but it's just slower. And then if your slow happens to be pretty slow, then you're fast. Well, it won't be that fast. But it's, you usually want to do about 5 long and slow, and then 10 fast. Back and forth, okay? So the red spring dynamic is always going to be 2 red springs. So it's supposed to feel the intensity of 2 red springs all along. So now when you come up to do elephant, so standing tall. So you want that rounded rib cage, you want to drop that head, heels down, send the carriage back, torso stays long, we send it back. And so those abs do most of the work. You scoop, and you scoop, and you scoop. You just keep scooping in, and pull up, good, and pull up. Okay, standing flamingo, bring one knee to your chest, Good. Now shift the weight. We want to stay stacked in our shoulders and our hips. So my hips are stacked over my shoulders. Just do 5 each side. Stack and breathe. Pull the abs in. Make an ab. Ab scoops. Ab scoops. Ab scoops. And you're rounded in the front and you're rounded in the back. Okay? That's more than 5. Keep. Then we do up stretch. High heels. So elevated heels come to the back. And now we want that back flat. Especially when you do this at home, your encouragement is to set up first. Bring your weight back to move the machine. So come on back. And I want you to feel like you're kind of dumping your weight upside down with your belly. Not your head, but your belly kind of lifted you and put you upside down. So you pike up and send the carriage back slightly. That's far enough. And pull back in. So back right there and pull up. Good. High heels. Keep them high. Pull your heels to your sits bones. Pull them up there. It's always funny because we call this up stretch, but in lady work we call it high heels because we know that feeling of having to pull it back all the way up, all right? And pull up, right, into up stretch. The difference, we'll do it, not today, but in another red spring classes, we tend to do long stretch, and then we do jackrabbit. We do all these things where our hips are kind of sticking up, okay? And then safety, we always want to have that sticky pad on our headrest for plank, right? So we did all that kind of underbelly work. Plank kind of is similar to swan stretch, but you get to move the front of your body, very similar. All the weight goes over, different than swan where it stayed in front, but this one goes over the top. Squeeze those thighs together. Move the machine with your abs. Especially mighty arms could do the work, but you want your abs to pull over the top and back down. And pull over the top. Pull your head away from your tailbone. Keep that spine long as you pull over the top. Good. And back. Squeeze those thighs. And over the top. Good. And come back. Okay? Good deal. Come on down. So we do that whole series, ab control series from the underbelly to kind of prepare us to do lunges, to do upper body work for short spine. So go ahead and we're actually doing short spine and long spine. I always encourage us to try to do it on at least one red, but we want to get to a place where we can do it on a red and a yellow, or a red and a blue, okay? So what do you usually do, red, yellow, or red, blue for a short spine?
I don't do that very much.
Okay, let's stay on 2 reds, okay? Feet in straps. So the dynamic, we're going to do long stretch, okay? It can take different shapes based on your hip comfort, especially your lower back comfort. Long stretch is kind of along the lines of doing, touching your toes, right? So if I'm standing up and I reach my hands up and I want to reach over to the floor and stretch, I don't want to use my back and extend my back to get to the floor. I want to scoop my abs, scoop my abs, scoop my abs, and touch the floor, and then I want to come back up here. So the long stretch is kind of that same motion. Don't let your back go, and bring me up, and bring me up, right? So we're going to go long out, so we kind of have our legs in a nice kind of zippered up position. That's 1, right? So no frog like short spine. And then 2, you're going to keep those legs together. You don't have to go that high. You're going to lift, and then you're going to widen, so your hip distance apart, and you're going to drop. Straight, 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 straight legs, straight, everything straight. Drop down. Drop your butt down. Okay, sorry. Yeah, and then again, feet together. Okay? No, stay there, stay there. So feet together. We zipper and we come down. Straight legs, they're together. They zipper and they stay together to come together and go up. And then they widen and then drop that long spine down. Good. And then you come back down together and together and go up and lift, open, hip distance, drop that hip. Good. And then down. Does that make sense? It goes down. Just up a little bit. So we want to stay long. You want to keep that length. And so long spine, meaning we don't curl the bottom and shorten like we do in short spine. And the kind of the safe thing about long spine is that it kind of makes you feel like you're pulling your shirt in the front and in the back. And pulling it down, good, and then bring it back together, good. Breathing, and you lift, so no bending, it's flat and long spine, good, 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 good. And then reaching, and then pulling down and pull through, okay? You can do short spine if you want. It's definitely an option at this point, but we don't have to, okay? Straps will come off. Okay, so we'll come up and do single red. And we have some standing work. So this is our adductor series. Add AD and AB ductor. So I know a lot of times we say it multiple things. Okay? So we first start standing tall. Use a sticky pad if you need it so you're not slipping with your foot on the carriage. And you're going to go out to the side and pull back. Out to the side. Good. And pull back. And have that, can we? Can't we? So side splits are just that. You're reaching to the side with those inner thighs, doing the splits, and you're pulling yourself back up. Reaching to the sides with your thighs, and squeezing, and pulling yourself back up. Torso stays long, abs pull close. So then the second dynamic, we're going to go out to the T with those arms. Out to the T, yep, and then pull back in. Good. This is something else to kind of stand sideways. This line from our armpit to our hip, keep going, in and out. We want to keep it there, not behind, not in front. You know, we don't always have the advantage of having a mirror to kind of see if that's where we are in space, but we have kind of this plus sign from our nose to our navel down the middle, and then we have that cross from our pecs and our shoulder blades. Again, not fan back, not pinched and swayed together, just out to the T, okay? So then we go out to the T. We're going to go out to the T with the arms. And when you come in, you're going to slap those hands down to your thighs and come back in, right? And reach out. You don't have to slap them. Reaching out to the T. And like a rocket, shooting to the ceiling. Good. And so you're adducting your arms and legs, your thighs and armpits in the same rhythm of control. Good. You're fanning out. So again, the things we look for when we fan out. Do we lean, right? Or can we stay stacked? Can we stay stacked? Can we go out to that T? And stacked. Versus leaning, right? So out to the T, good. Zippering, squeezing those thighs, wrapping that armpit and pec area, fanning this pec and the shoulder blades, and then pushing those thighs out, okay? So do the same thing with bent knees. So we have bent knees here. Hands start here, stay bent on the way out. So kind of a little skater dynamic. Both hips move. Rock that hip and bring it back. So both hips go out. Both hips come in. Both hips, bent knees go out. Yep, and both hips come in. So two dynamics. Once we figure out this system of control, what's holding us up, right? Not the sway of our back, not sitting back. We want to pull those abs in and hold that length, right? Hands can go to the legs, or hands can go behind your back to remind you to pull your abs into that back. You don't realize how much in this bent over position or this bent knee position, we're still holding and resting all our strength in our back, right? So reaching, reaching, and reaching. So similar arm sensation in your bent knees. You're going to come low, out to the T, right? You're going to hold those arms out there for a second. Hold them, go lower with your body forward. So yep, and then come back in. Stay low, stay low, stay low. So we're wide, and you're going to come back in. Good. Wide. So it's like, can I hold my body up with my pecs fanned out to the side? And then we'll do that 4 or 5 times, and then we add the arms together when we come in. Wide when we go out. Again, don't fan open. Stay in that ab control. Stay in that ab control. Stay. Right? Kind of huge butterfly wings. big elephant ears. We'll call it elephant ears. Wide, right? They flap together. They come apart. They flap together. They come apart. You're not changing any part of the structure of your body to make that motion happen. Okay? Same thing other side, just to kind of balance it out. I'll kind of put some things out. Okay? Good deal. So, again, nice and tall. You're going to lengthen. Good. And pull through. And so, that long line, I often say it's like a carousel animal. You're going down and you're pulling up. You don't want that hip to shift, and do it for me. Push your hip over here. Yep. We don't want that to move the machine, right? You know, push it over here to go out this way. Push the machine, move the machine, right? So we don't want that hip motion. Those are not the adductors doing the work. Our hips moving the machine. And push from the width of the thighs and squeeze and pull back. And push to go out. Good. And squeeze. So push from the thighs, squeeze from the thighs, reach. So the things that I often watch and feel, and then you might even feel a little bit, I'll kind of poke at them here, in your glute here, because your adductors attach through here, from the front and kind of up to the back here. So if you're feeling it there in your bottom, you're doing it right. If you're feeling it here in your hip and your lower back, you're maybe pressing too far forward. If you're feeling it in your knees, you're kind of pushing off and pushing with your knee. Okay, let's go hands out, good. And pull in, right? We go out, we pull up. Good. We go out, and we pull up, and we go out, and pull up. So same things we're looking for. Good deal. Out to the sides, and pull in. We reach. Good. So not swaying, not reaching out there, staying stacked, and pull in, and staying stacked. Good. And pull in. Okay? Go low. Keep those hips square. Same thing. Don't swivel those hips. Swivel those hips for me. Swivel those hips. Good. Don't push with that hip and drag back in. Don't move the machine with your hips or your leg. You want to push those thighs nice and square again. Wide. Squeeze back in. Right? Open. And close. Right? Open. He has the ability to bend his knees and rest his weight over his thighs. A lot of people don't have that ability in their calf and their ankles, so that's a lot of times where you want to bend your body completely over so you don't feel that kind of crazy Achilles and calf stretch in your heel and your back. Okay? So reach to the front, fan open, right? But don't open that chest. Fan the pecs and the shoulder blades wide. There you go. And pull in. Nice. We go wide. And pull close. We go wide. And pull in. And we go wide. And we pull in. Okay, so that standing series is really very much about your adductors. So now we come down. Say we come down, we're going to put the 3 red springs back on. I don't know if that was real safe. Jumping off backwards, but when you're athletic like you can, I guess. So just be safe. And so we're on 3 red springs. We're going to do a little bit of bridging. And it's kind of hip distance apart, but after doing that thigh work, right, you kind of feel the power when we say lift. You pull those thighs up, pull those abs down. Good. And then lower back down. Make your thighs, not just the top, but I'm going to push my hands here. I want you to squeeze towards my hands and reach. Good. And then come back down. And breathing through it, you're going to press up. Good. And lower down. And we're going to press up. And lower down. This time, press up and stay up for bridge press. Press up and stay up. Use those thighs to help hold up. So it's not your hamstrings, it's your inner thighs. Send the carriage back and forth with length and control. Good. We go out. We pull up. Good. We zipper from the front of our body. Your glutes are going to fire, but remember that feeling of your adductors widening, right? They're kind of narrowing and widening, right? They're exactly the same. They're very similar. Reaching. Good. And reaching. And reaching. Okay? Come on in. We'll do it with our feet together, our thighs together. Now you don't really feel that adduction motion as much, but because your legs are already set in place, they are already together. They should not be unfolding, right? They stay wrapped when you go up. They stay wrapped when you come down. So wrap when you go up, Wrap when you go down for bridging. Pull the abs in, lengthen, good. And then bridge press, out, and pull in, right? Out, and pull up. Reaching, good. To those inner thighs. Reaching, good. And reaching, and reaching. Okay, come on down. We're going to stay on those 3 red springs. We're going to widen those hips. Do what we call sumo squat or leg press wide, so all the way out there. So an outward rotation, send the carriage out, nice and long. And then when you come back in, bring the carriage all the way in, get as wide as you can. You have this heavy spring system pulling you in. Go ahead and press out again. So press out, and you want to pull wide. Come on in, wide, and still keep that tubular trunk, down the middle. So you have deep flexion at the ankles, deep flexion at the knees, and deep flexion at the hips. The hips fall or pulled open. You come wide, right? And so when you start to coordinate then the breath in red spring, you're just encouraging that breath to keep moving, right? Pumping it through, out, moves down the groin, out the thighs, out the arches, right? It draws back up through the belly button, out through the pectorals, and out the back lung, out the back of your neck, right? Okay, and then leg press narrow, bring those feet together, nice and close. I always say hold a nickel, hold a dime, hold the dollar, hold it tight, press out, zipper and tighten when you go out, zipper and tighten when you pull in. So zipper and tighten when you go out, and feel that zipper, not really letting it fall open. Stay wrapped in that rib cage, stay wrapped in those thighs, wrapped in those ankles. They might want to roll out each time. Really pull them in, and press, come down to your toes a little bit more. Good, and pull through, and you wrap. So it's kind of your chance, especially after a red spring, on heavy red springs, to control it. It could bring you in fast, but you lengthen out long, and pull in, and lengthen out long. And then spread those feet, little space, I would say fist distance apart, press out long for running, all the way long. And we press, and you reach, good, and you press. And so 3 red springs, it gives you a lot to push off of, but also gives you a lot to lift up on. So you're pushing, and you're lengthening, and you're pushing. You'll start to feel it through the joints a little bit, and hopefully there's a sense of alignment that's happening on this. It's not so much that it's a heavy spring, it's just a faster spring that you have to slow it down so it doesn't pull you in. You control in, you control out. Control in, control out. Control in, control out. Okay? And that is one of the red spring classes. I think it's kind of a fundamental red spring class that takes your body through different levels and on a specific resistance, on the 3 or the 2 or the 1 red springs. So, thanks.